Welcome everyone to session 1 of the Ascend, our Bloodlords campaign. My name is Jericho. I will be your GM for the foreseeable future. You guys are excited. We begin our story on the 8th day of Abadius, 4724 AR. Roughly late afternoon, one might say just about 5:15 p.m. The year has started just a week ago. Everything seems to be continuing as is. Number of visitors have been flocking over the past years to Graydirge, helping to extend its economy a bit further, flushing out the numerous farms in the region that provide a vast amount of food, both to Geb itself and to the surrounding Inner Sea region, major exports and trades of Gebite society. We begin our story with one individual, a common worker in the city and region, say someone affiliated with one of the great factions of Geb, the Reanimators, to be specific. Just arriving back in town from your day job at the various other farms in the region, passing through the burnt remnants of the Ovens district, torched decades ago and only recently begun to rebuild with permission of the Builders League finally acquired. As you pass the large bone walls that surround the city of Graydirge and through the open gates at the end, heading back towards your office, Philip, would you please describe your character to the group?
Yeah, so Philip is this it's about 5'7". There are horrendous bags under his eyes. It's one of the most notable features about him. He's got pale light gray skin, so the bags under his eyes are just kind of pitch black. Heavy set brow, just looks dead to the world. There on his hip there is a gun pointing down to the side, and in his other hand, in his left hand, there is a small little satchel that he doesn't even bother to put on his back. He's just kind of wandering through town, and though he wanders and looks like a fucking zombie, he is shockingly alive.
All right. Begin making your way down the main street towards the southern section of the governor's quarter where your office stands. It's much like the rest of the buildings, a mixture of stone, a bit of onyx, and a vast amount of bone, creating the outward facade of it. But what you know to be inside, a few people you don't necessarily enjoy working with, a boss especially going to be on your case almost definitely, and a few papers left to file before you're finally free for the day. Though it is unfortunately Moon Day, the first day of the week, it's already starting off wrong. Is there anything in particular you'd like to do on your way back to the office?
No, I'd probably just get to the office as fast as I can. If it looks like there's actually no, if it looks like there's anything that can delay my return, any excuse I can make to say why I was late, anything that fucker will buy, I will gladly stop.
Go ahead and give me a perception check. It's gonna be public for now. Okay. Taking a look around, you're on one of the major streets right now. There's a number of townsfolk about, mixture of both quick and dead, as far as you recognize. A few skeletons here and there, some ghouls, a number of halflings kind of crowding the streets. Unfortunately, though, at this time of the afternoon, most people are heading off to grab dinner and spend time with their families for the rest of the afternoon. nothing really catches your attention as being, a unique enough excuse that you haven't given before to get you out of going back to the office, at least for another couple minutes.
Great. Then I will just slowly trudge back to the office.
Heading back in, it's, this building right around here, just off the parade grounds, a bit inconspicuous to people looking around, but to you, it's, almost your second unwilling home. Heading inside past the front doors, you find yourself in the very familiar open office of your boss Calvax, right as the front room. A couple dimly lit candles that flicker around the different tall bookshelves on the walls, and behind the large oak desk, kind of right in the center of the room, rag enshrouded skeleton of your boss Calvax, who is currently got a set of spectacles over his lifeless eye sockets and is taking some notes down on a couple sheafs of paper on his desk. Looks up as you enter. Oh, Philip. Is it already time to clock out for the day?
No, sir. I have a few things left to file, sir.
Oh. As per usual, overtime will not be approved. I know you're aware of that, but I don't want to hear about it. When you're finished, please stop by here. I have one last thing.
Yes, sir. I will file as quickly as I can, making sure I don't fuck anything up majorly so Calvex doesn't get back on my ass.
It's not terribly difficult to do so. This is a process you're used to, and when you put your mind to it, you can get things done pretty quickly. But going over some of the repairs you fixed today and finished, putting in requests for new supplies to some of the different farms, takes only maybe 20 or 30 minutes to accomplish before you're able to push in the last drawer of your desk, papers filed, and extinguish the lights.
I'm gonna sit in the dark in my office for good 2 seconds, enjoy the darkness, enjoy the nothing, and then I'll stand up and I'll go talk to fucking Calvex.
All right. When you come out, he's still taking notes down a lot more diligently than normally. Normally, you'd expect him to have a drink in hand at this point and just kind of relaxing, waiting to leave. But he seems to still be working for some reason. And as you come up, finished already, Philip? Good, good. Now, tell me and be honest here. How much do you want to break? Day off.
I don't trust this. Would be very appreciated, sir. Don't remember the last time I had a day off.
Well, believe it or not, Philip, I have good news for you. Don't have to come into the office tomorrow. Because another job came in, specifically requesting you. Don't give me that. This is an opportunity, Philip, one that doesn't come often to people. It would do good to have your best face on when you take it. Now, remind me, when was the last time you attended a formal dinner?
I think it was 2 years ago.
Okay. Well, back when the visited. I trust your suit still fits.
Yes, sir.
Obviously dressed in one, I think.
Yeah, I'm dressed in a suit.
Well, hasten your way on over to Haldoli's estate. You have a dinner with the Blood Lord tonight.
Um, m- may I ask why, sir?
Something about one of the farms having issues with their tools, and specifically wished to see the person in charge of them. So, them your name, told them you'd be over chop chop.
Oh, thank you, sir.
Of course. I knew you'd appreciate it.
Yes, sir. Well, pleasure working with you.
Yes. Pleasure was truly all yours. Don't forget, once you've made it big, yourself in a ditch, of course, let them know who taught you everything. I expect great things out of you, Philip. Great things.
Just gonna nod and walk away.
Sure.
I guess I'll make my way over to the estate.
Okay.
This is kind of the nicest suit I own, so
Unfortunately, it is a very rapid walk of the estate from where you are. Uh, Only about 200 feet max. So, a bit hard to limit the amount of time that takes.
yeah.
But as you plod your way across the parade grounds of Graydirge and make your way towards truly the one sort of green space in the city, we're going to go back in time slightly to a little bit earlier in the day, a little bit after noon, when another individual is, for I believe the first time, approaching Graydirge, making their way up the southern road towards Bloodlord's Grace, a location veritably swimming in quick, as well as the odd ghoul, maybe a mummy or two. There's a lot of halflings in the region, as these are relatively newer buildings put together. But invitation letter in hand, Requiem, do please describe your.
Yes, I also had one request.
Okay.
Would you mind if I had a servant that has no mechanical or combat benefits whatsoever accompanying me?
Sure. If you're okay with me brutally killing them.
Yeah, why wouldn't I be? They're just a servant.
Fantastic. Yeah, absolutely. You can have just a guy that goes with you. Someone has to carry the luggage.
Yeah,
Hirelings only cost 1 silver a day.
And the
he's
blood.
not even he's not even one of the good servants. Like he's not a damn pure servant. He's just a mindless undead that
Oh,
carried stuff.
he's one of those servants, I see.
But yeah, they weren't going to give me a good servant to just go deal with a tiny problem like this.
Fair enough.
It's the baggage
Anyway.
zombie.
This is Requiem Imperium Noctis. She is a tall woman with long white hair. You would definitely notice first the ears pointing out, very elven, screams elf. She's wearing fine clothes, some jewelry that has some necromantic vibes to it. She walks with an air and grace to it. She also has very stark red eyes that would immediately just scream vampire to anyone and everyone. And her skin is very pale. It doesn't really have like the purplish hue that the image has here, but it is just a very like pale, pallid kind of color. Just your typical undead vampire skin color.
And correct me if I'm remembering wrong, but this is your first time attending Graydirge, correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
If I recall correctly, this is a pretty small place compared to some of the grander cities of Geb, right?
It's definitely not on the size of Led or Mekatar, where you would much more be familiar with.
Yeah. So she's had plenty of dealings with the reanimators because she was trained by them, but she would not have had reason to come here.
Absolutely. Making your way up, I think the first thing you notice is this district, Bloodlord's Grace, as it is called, a smattering of buildings kind of expanded onto the hillside south of Graydirge, not encompassed by the walls. Would you mind go ahead and give me a society check, or what lores do you have?
I have undead lore.
This is going to fall under society. Okay. You grew up in a family very closely connected to the Builders League, and as such, I imagine you've got a pretty strong training and understanding when it comes to the laws and how the Builders League operates. As far as you've heard in the few meetings you've managed to attend, the few documents you've seen, additional construction beyond the walls of Graydirge has not been permitted by the League as of yet.
Interesting. I'll file that away.
Walking your way through, you see quite a number of people. No one really seems to look at you funny as you approach. This seems to be you see a smattering of both what appears to be travelers and servants in about equal measure as you pass through this area and towards the city gates themselves. As you approach the gates themselves, you do see one specific individual that sort of catches your attention, someone standing to attention right besides the gates, as if expecting someone. As you see them holding the small name card that says Imperium Noctis on it. It is a very well-dressed ghoul male.
Requiem will approach. Hello, yes. I am Requiem. You are here for me, yes?
Good evening, yes. Mistress Haldoli welcomes your arrival in the city, has asked me to see you to her residence.
Oh, fantastic. Please lead the way. Come along, 84. Come along.
The ghoul will kind of bear a semi-grotesque smile with surprisingly clean teeth and will lead you up through the street, remaining silent unless you have any questions or like to say as you make the Haldoli estate.
One second. So, those buildings out there, have they been there long? I don't recall seeing them on official city plans, but they are always out of date.
They've been making slow building the last 5 years. Mistress Haldoli has stated officially to help food production.
Ah, I see. Thank you.
Gives a sort of grave nod. It's on the way. Two of you will gradually make your way towards the estate. It's early afternoon, so you'll have quite a bit of time before any sort of meeting. Just relax and chat with Bloodlord herself. As you make your way up into the central plaza and into the large gates of the estate itself, contrary to the rest of the relatively gross region, you could say. I mean, it's normal for Geb at this point. Relatively barren lands aside from the remarkably well farmed areas surrounding Graydirge. You find a very well manicured space of green beyond the gates of the Haldoli estate. A very well walled villa. It's a lot similar to some of the locations in Mekatar, though definitely a bit smaller compared to some of the places you've been to. But as you kind of walk up the path, there are a number of gardens and orchards, I think that's how it's pronounced, that you pass by. You see a few servants out of the corner of your eye, a mixture of regular living servants and a few undead being tended to by a few necromancers that seem to be out and about at the but as you approach the building itself, it's, a decently sized mansion. It's got a well kept outer deck right in front of it, and currently sitting in a chair with what appears to be a wine glass in hand, and just watching as you approach, is your first Bloodlord, Berlin Haldoli. A dark-skinned halfling woman wearing mostly tans and bronzes. She has a large staff kind of propped up next to her against the wall. You can see a multi-horned skull kind of wrapped around it. There's a headband with a number of bones attached to it, and sort of a necklace of fingers, and almost a lanyard of ears around her belt as well. She's just kind of holding the glass as you approach. Mistress Requiem, I presume?
Ah, yes.
Welcome to my estate. I trust the journey did not tire you too much.
Oh, no, it was quite a pleasant journey.
Well, come on, what can I get you to drink? Take a seat. We have much time to rest and relax before dinner and business tonight.
A glass of blood would not go amiss.
Certainly.
As well as some wine, whatever you're drinking there, if you don't mind.
Would you prefer them separate or combined?
Separate.
Separate.
The journey was a tad long, and I would like to drink the blood a little unladylike. You know.
Fresh from the tap, as they put it.
Yes.
Well, any preferences on ancestry and taste? Certainly would.
No, not really.
Right. She'll just kind of snap her fingers, and after a moment, one of the human servants will kind of come jogging up the steps. You called, Mistress Haldoli? Our guest here is thirsty. Present yourself. The servant will just kind of stand in front of you a little awkwardly, not sure how you prefer to drink.
She just kind of grabs him and just takes control and does her own thing.
Yeah.
Right before she bites, though, she does say "Bon appetit," and then just dives in.
All right. By the time you've finished, there will be a waiting glass of wine as well as a few small snacks on the table prepared if you would like to take of anything while you just have a pleasant afternoon speaking with the Blood Lord.
Yeah, some snacks sounds good.
But as you converse with the Blood Lord, another individual finishes their work up for the day, filing some paperwork. We do have yet one more individual that will receive an invitation at Thrag. At roughly 4 p.m. or so, where would you be and what would you be doing? And if you wouldn't mind describing your character as well.
Uh, Thrag would probably be somewhere between the farms and whatever counts as a library in this place.
Absolutely.
This skeleton is somewhere around 6 foot. Not quite sure with the headdress that she typically wears. The very shimmery outfit on. Not much to her, really. Uh, and she has this long tail following behind her. Most notable thing, sorry,
Oh, go
most
ahead.
notable thing would probably be the striking blue eyes and hair.
You would be well aware that right around the northern end of the Coast there is largest library in Graydirge named the Jovi Reliquary. Imagine you've probably spent a decent amount of time there.
Very much so.
It is a quieter location, not many patrons, and the proprietor, me just by the name of Etch, people in solitude in particular.
Would most likely be quite familiar at this point.
All right. And you said you're about between there and the farms where you work?
Yes.
Okay. Walking down the sort of parade grounds at this point, making your way, having finished for the day and heading towards the library to take a break, relax, read before you go find yourself whatever you need to sustain your body's needs for the eve. Um, you notice that strangely for this time of day, there are fewer people out and about on the parade grounds than you would expect and are used to the point that it's almost empty.
Most unusual.
Just continuing on your way.
Yes. She's trying to keep her head down and
Okay. If you wouldn't mind, go ahead and give me a religion check. Or if you would prefer, actually,
sorry, I just
in
didn't
your
remember what page it was on.
case, yeah, religion would be best, I think.
Okay.
Okay. Well, it's definitely not mass at the empty threshold, but you feel the slightest presence of something walking in lockstep with you.
Hmm.
Something that, should you look towards it, you do not see.
Hmm. She will continue towards the library for now, trying not to give away much.
Okay. The feeling persists as you make your way down the avenue. Whatever these footsteps you can feel in the air beside you, just continuing on, but making no indication of any sort of malicious or good intent realistically, just following alongside. But you eventually make your way to the reliquary. You are more than welcome to enter if you
I would, actually.
opening the doors, you're greeted by the familiar warm interior of the two-story reliquary. A number of shelves line the floors on the bottom floor. The upstairs, a really just large shelf against each wall, and some small reading areas as well. Shuffling from around one of the bookshelves as you enter is the familiar mummy Etch, who just nods at you, recognizing you, and uses one of its bandages to just kind of gesture at the space if you would like anything in particular today.
You said there were like a seating area
Yeah,
somewhere?
upstairs.
I'm just going to point to that and head over there.
Etch just nods and turns and disappears behind the bookshelves out of sight. Making
She's
way.
going. Yeah, she's going to head over to the seating area and be seated.
Okay. As you.
Then, oh, go ahead.
Oh,
No,
as
no,
you
no, no, go ahead.
Sorry. As you sit down, take a minute and think maybe about what you'd like to read or what is going on. In one of the nearby chairs out of the corner of your eye, you catch a slight depression as if something else has just sat down on that chair.
May I help you?
There is a moment of quiet before a sort of tittering laugh comes out of the ether. Oh, my apologies, dear. And suddenly appearing is a elderly looking individual. They appear quick. You do not see any overt signs of undead in them. I just couldn't resist casting a few pranks. I hope I didn't scare you over much.
Not at all.
Wonderful.
Was there something I could assist you with?
She's just like staring at you. Yes, now that you mention it, apologies. She'll kind of fish around in a bag you notice at her side, and she'll pull out what appears to be a small scroll of flesh, and she will just set it on the table between the two of you and sit back and smile.
Consider it for a minute and then pick it up.
Will say
Maybe.
there is a seal on it, and you do
Yeah.
recognize the seal as that of Berlin Haldoli.
What, she'll consider it for a minute and then slowly, open it.
There isn't much written on it. It simply reads, Drag, you are hereby invited to dinner and an opportunity with the Blood Lord Berlin Haldoli of the Reanimators tonight. There's no time on it or anything of the sort.
She'll just ponder it for a minute and then slowly, roll it back up. Well, this is unexpected.
Isn't that the best type of gift? The unexpected kind?
Yes. Yes, I would say it is.
Then you
quite grateful.
Well, this will be interesting. Well, I don't have much else to do. Guess I might be on my way.
As you're kind of musing to yourself, you realize that whoever is sitting across from you is vanished.
Tricky little one, that. And she'll consider looking at a few texts on her way out and then wave at the mummy.
Etch will just wave a bit of fabric back at you as you relatively quickly, for once, from the library. Just begin making your way down the road, I guess. Interestingly enough, as you head down the avenue, this time, what was previously surprisingly empty is just as lively as you're used to now.
Strange things. She'll head her way to the estate.
And last but not least, we have one more worker. Similarly, coming back from a day on the farms, but whereas Philip has to work on the more mechanical side of things, this individual has spent the day fixing that which no longer lives but still works. Azrael, as you make your way back into town from your job, would you please describe your character as well as where you're headed?
He might require a minute.
Uh-oh.
I was muted. I am a fool.
Never mind.
Unfortunate.
Azrael is a fiendish skeleton who heads immediately to the church.
Okay. Now, which church are you specifically heading for? The only
Which ones do we have?
one here in Graydirge is unfortunately the church to the Midnight Lords on Kuthon. Your deity is not a widely worshipped deity here, and so really the churches that you would go to would more be at the larger cities.
He doesn't have like a dedicated like shrine, but it's still like the principle of the matter.
A shrine's a shrine.
The shrine's a shrine.
There are probably...
They don't have a.
Go ahead.
They don't have conflicting anathemas.
That's
presumably.
fair. And, well, sometimes the sounds that you hear from the empty threshold can be music to people's ears. If you had them, of course. But as you make your way towards the empty threshold today, just for a quick prayer, you are stopped on the road. A well-dressed ghoul, seemingly in a butler outfit, kind of hurriedly, not quite jogging, trying to maintain a more dignified walk, but definitely sort of speeding in your general direction through the throngs of people on the road.
Sir, apologies for grabbing your attention in the middle of your walk, but I have important news for you.
What language is he speaking in?
Necril.
Ah, responded kind.
You will find, while Osiriani is the common tongue of the quick, here in Geb, Necril is the common tongue of the dead. When it comes to one dead to another, more than often you can assume the conversation is being had in Necril.
All right.
Out of curiosity, what good language was I addressed in? Let me think of that.
Yours would have been in Osiriani, common, essentially.
Okay. Sorry to interrupt.
Is it a message? Is it a letter? An oral translation?
Spoken word, I'm afraid. That's why it had to be delivered in person.
Should we go somewhere private, or is it not a concern?
No concern of mine, unless you have things yourselves that need not being said to the public ear.
Are we like in the middle of the road?
Yeah, pretty much.
Let's step off like an alleyway or something, I guess.
Yeah, easy enough. Kind of do a quick little bow towards you. He kind of readies himself in a more formal method.
First and foremost, I am Major Domo Murk. It is a pleasure to make your acquaintance, Sir Azrael. I come to you bearing an invitation, an offer, one might say, of new employment from our resident mistress, Bloodlord Haldoli.
Ah. The reanimators recognize my dedication at last.
Mistress Haldoli sees in you something that some of your other superiors don't seem to do at the moment, no. As such, has decided to offer you an opportunity to prove yourselves to them.
Perfect. When do we begin?
37 minutes is when dinner will be served.
That's a nice power walk.
You might have time to say a quick prayer if you want. The empty threshold's right here.
Oh, I was thinking it was down in the.
Well,
Okay.
you got to go to Haldoli's
Oh, yeah.
estate, but if you wanted to prayer first, you're
Definitely in
probably
the boat. Okay.
around here at the moment.
Oh, I came in the Alvin store.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So, kind of came down, went up through Governor's Quarter towards the empty threshold. You could probably stop by for a quick prayer if you wanted to. But that would leave you getting there right in time for dinner.
God comes first.
Fair enough. I really can't. I can't blame that. All right, making your way towards the empty thresholds. Would you say you recognize a number of people there, or do you more keep to yourself and not really talk to the faithful of the Midnight Lord?
Probably by sight, if not by name.
Okay. You recognize a few of the priests, a few of the regulars. It is a little odd as you are a member of the dead entering a church that is primarily worshipped by the quick, strangely enough. As far as you're aware, they have the general belief that the ministrations they provide cannot be felt as vividly by the dead as by the quick, and so a vast majority of the congregation is still living. But immersing yourselves within and taking a moment to say your prayers before heading down towards the estate. Do you have anything in particular you'd like to do for the prayer?
No, nothing special today.
Okay. Finish up your prayers, begin making your way down the main avenue towards Berlin's Haldoli's estates. And we pick back up as you begin to approach. See, with this Major Domo Murk by your side, two other individuals standing out front of the estate. The gate's currently closed, and a zombie on the other side from within the estate, reaching slowly, trying to squeeze an arm further through the gate towards the two people waiting on your side of it. As you both approach, Philip And Draig, it is the two of you that await outside, having arrived not too long ago yourselves, but finding the gates closed and a seemingly unattended zombie reaching towards you from the other side. Unable to reach you, but just sort of there.
Really thought there would have been a better leash on this one.
One can hope. The name's Philip.
Drag.
Pleasure.
Bad day.
Bad life.
Seems to be a lot of that.
That's the fun thing about living here. Yes. Does it look like the zombie? He's just trying to reach us.
Yeah.
He's not actually. It doesn't look like he's any kind of gatekeeper or anything.
No.
He's just trying to eat you.
There's a lot of that.
Very basic clothes on it. The sort of wear that you recognize a number of farm zombies wearing.
Okay. Well. So why are you here visiting the Bloodlord?
I was invited.
Invited. Invited for what?
They don't usually tell.
Oh. Well, then I guess she just got her meetings mixed up. I'll try to push open the gate.
Just avoiding the zombie.
I'm not dealing with that. I don't deal with zombies.
So do you want to try and push open around him, or are you just going to wait?
I'm gonna try to push open the gate.
Sure.
I kind of want this to get over with. I'm not looking forward to it, but rip a band-aid off quicker.
Absolutely. You go ahead and give me a. I'm going to ask for a either society or diplomacy roll, your choice.
Society.
Sold.
You want this blind?
Nope, this can be public. I'm being so nice for once. I've allowed 4 non-blind checks in a row.
Who
Wow.
are you, and what have you done with Jericho?
Killed him. I'm dead, Jericho.
Oh,
Here
no.
on Blood
Yo!
Lords.
No, not
Spooky
Blade
blood.
Jericho.
Yeah, I mean, it's not terribly difficult to just sort of stay out of reach of its arm. You are a bit smaller than the zombie, and kind of stay out of reach and just push the gate open and kind of force the zombie back with it.
Don't hurt it. You don't know. They might think that one's important.
Look, man. I don't want to hurt it, but you go to enough farms.
Yeah, but you never know with the Bloodlords.
You've met multiple Bloodlords.
No, but rich is rich.
Ah. Rich is rich. You're right. I shouldn't hurt him, nor will I. But, can't let him eat me.
No, you also don't want to pay for it.
Yeah, not that I have the money to pay for it. Still no one?
About this time, you actually begin to hear rapid footsteps coming from behind you towards the estate.
What's behind us?
You see 2 individuals, a skeleton and a ghoul. The ghoul very well dressed and kind of rushing forward, seeing this uncontained zombie. My deepest apologies, fellows. Please give me just a moment and I will take care of this. I'm truly sorry for the inconvenience to you. They'll kind of just step past the zombie, full on ignoring it. Glorinza, do your job, please. And a few moments later, a young human woman in pretty plain clothes kind of comes running through the trees, eyes wide, as she sees the uncontrolled zombie. Major Domo Murk, I'm so sorry about this. And to you guests as well, give me just one moment. And she'll take a little bit of time and just with gentle snaps of her fingers, some soothing noises, some things both of you have seen done many a time on the various farms in the region, grabs the attention of the zombies and just starts leading it back into the gardens away from the gate. Now that that's over with, if the three of you would please, Mistress Haldoli is awaiting you.
I'm gonna look at the other two. I'm not entirely sure what's going on here.
2 skeletons and a human walk into a bar.
The ghoul says, "Follow me."
Hilarious. Guess I follow.
Fall behind.
Sure. I don't actually know if any of the three of you recognize each other, considering you all do at least similar work. It is up to you if you've at least run into one another before.
I imagine I would have probably not spoken to, but definitely seen Arsenal running around as we both run between the farms.
Do you mean Azrael?
Azrael, god damn it.
You know what? It's stuck now. It's Arsenal now.
Arsenal.
I'm not the gunslinger.
No, that's the one giving you the nickname.
That's why
I think
you
you're
call
gonna-
it Arsenal.
I think you're just gonna carry his guns now. That's just it's your job.
God damn
You
it.
carry the guns.
Yeah, hold my rifle.
Like
Why would I buy a tripod?
I am so sad that I managed to hold that accent for all of one interaction. God damn it.
As the three of you make your way up the path, this is the first time any of you have been in the Haldoli estate. For a number of you, it's probably the most like green you've seen in, I don't know, a couple hundred years maybe. Like the region has green, but that's like crop growing green, and this is like nice looking garden green.
How she gets this to grow?
Good fertilizer, better workers.
Power of wealth.
Indeed.
The three of you following your way behind Major Domo Mierk up towards the house itself, you find yourselves approaching two individuals currently sitting in chairs on the porch, sharing what appear to be glasses of wine and just in conversation. Requiem, you and Berlin, both right around the same time, notice these four approaching you. You recognize Major Domo Murk, the individual who met you at the gate, now leading these other three guests towards you.
This is just giving me Django flashbacks. God damn it.
It seems the rest of our retinue for dinner has arrived. Welcome, friends. I don't think I've had the displeasure of meeting any of you yet. Berlin Haldoli's the name. It's an absolute displeasure to make your acquaintance. Tell me, are you all hungry?
How familiar is this individual to the one that was in the library?
Like, how familiar is Haldoli to Etch?
No, the person I was interacting with in the library.
Oh.
Did they look similar?
No, they look quite different.
Okay. Just checking.
Is everyone hungry?
I could eat.
Oh, yes.
Yes, I could go for a snack.
Oh,
Thank you.
so you're not here for a snack, you are here for dinner. Pleasant experience, fine dining, some of, quite frankly, the best food you'll find most of Geb, if I'm being honest. A lot of people, pardon the dead among us, but are lacking in the taste bud department. There's a bit of help when it comes to that.
Yes, my apologies.
Come in this way, follow me to the dining room. Requiem, throughout your guys' afternoon of conversation, she has repeatedly every now and then kind of gotten up and left you on the porch to go in and cook for a little bit. Check on the preparation before coming back out to rejoin you, never leaving you for longer than a few minutes at a time, and always finding decent spots in conversation to end it. Would there have been anything in particular you would have liked to chat with her about in the hour or two between you fully arriving and the rest arriving? Or would you leave it to mostly just sort of pleasantries?
It's mostly just pleasantries. The only thing that she would pointedly mention is her grandmother and saying, like, her grandmother says hello, wishes you well, all that kind of thing. Typical, like, high level politics.
Has been far too long since I last met Domina. I was just a wee babe. I imagine she hasn't changed much in the time that has passed. She's still as good a teacher as she was to me.
Oh, yes. Grandmama is. She's simply the best.
Glad to hear that. Have to find my way to her at some point. I don't think I've seen her since I reached this position, and it'll be nice to speak to her as equals for once.
I'm sure she would be glad to entertain you if you were to come to our estate.
What a way of putting that. But making your way into Berlin's residence, just beyond kind of this relatively small entryway, the dining room is actually one of the first rooms you find yourselves in. Tiny, sort of colorful bone tiles and intricate patterns decorate the walls and floor. A lot of the furniture here is made of this mixture of wood and bones. Looking at the rooms through the different doorways you can see, they all seem to be pretty well designed, sort of with comfort in mind. Number of longer cushioned benches, lot of cushions, rugs, so many throw blankets, number of low tables. But the dining room itself is a very large, very classic style wood and bone table with seats already set for everyone. Please find yourselves a seat. I'll be right out with the food.
Requiem will take a seat.
Okay.
And he does sit to the seat just to the right of where the Bloodlord will be sitting.
Of course. At the head of the table, where else?
Are there only the 5 seats?
There are 5 seats in total.
Was it a round table? I'm sorry, I missed that.
It's more of an oval.
I will sit on the left side of the Bloodlord.
Okay.
Second chair. I'm not sitting directly to her left.
Sure.
Philip still thinks that he is going to be berated for messing up a tool.
Drag will sit opposite the Bloodlord.
Okay.
You motherfucker. Wait for being last.
I knew you were gonna do it. I knew it. It's my seat. Fuck off. I think that means you have to sit next to the Bloodlord.
You can either sit next to the Bloodlord or be between Drag and Requiem. Those are the 2 seats left that you can choose from.
Am I here now?
Yes.
Oh. I will sit next to the Bloodlord, and where Zuko will sit between the other two.
Okay. There isn't really a seat for Zuko per se, but he can absolutely sit on the table. For those of you wondering, Zuko is a little skeleton snake.
Oh, how cute.
Do not eat the snake.
Philip will probably turn to Azrael and be like, "Are you also here to get scolded?"
No, I'm here for a reward and a promotion.
Sorry? You know, Calvax. The
Do I?
lich asshole.
You might have met Calvax in passing, Azrael, as one of the sort of overseers of the general farm operation. When you're more like switching work, moving from one farm to another would be when Calvax might step in and like shoot you a memo of which farm you're going to work at next, but you haven't had any like direct interaction with him.
Not really, no.
No. Told me the Bloodlord requested me as there was something wrong with the tools on the farms.
All of my tools are working perfectly. I make sure of that.
Yes, I know, you've never caused problems.
I cannot tell if that was sarcastic.
After a minute or two, Berlin will start coming out with a large variety of dishes, quite honestly. The main course is a sweet and savory chicken, egg, and almond pie. There's bowls of steamed grains, caramelized onions, raisins, stewed vegetables, a tomato and cucumber salad, a lamb stew with carrots and potatoes, loaves of fresh baked bread in a basket. Sit, enjoy, and just to make sure I am catering to everyone's tastes, is there anything that's missing from the spread that people would like? Don't feel burdened about asking, just ask away.
I have a mechanical question.
Mm-hmm.
The hell's gonna happen when me and Jacob try to eat this?
Oh, I'm
Don't
prepared for
ask.
the situation. Don't you worry about it.
Did you bring your ribcage bag?
I might have done.
Is there food? There's food I can eat, right?
This is all regular person food.
Okay.
It's more like if you want blood, speak up. Or flesh, speak up.
Gotcha.
Do you have any fingers?
Fingers. Fresh or
Not necessary.
jerk?
Not necessary. Preferably with the bone.
Bone in. Fresh fingers. Easily provided. Give just a moment.
Hear the sound of a servant screaming in the back room.
That's honestly what I was hoping for when I asked.
Unfortunately, they are trained not to scream.
I think
Oh,
that's
no.
slightly more fucked up.
It's Gem. What did you expect?
I don't know.
I'm just wondering how many fingers she's gonna come back with.
How many would you like? Did you put a number?
No, I did not.
Oh, great. She comes back with 12.
Oh my god.
With at least 4 different skin tones.
Oh my
no.
god.
I think she was considering just didn't take 2 people's entire hands or whatever.
You gotta keep them in working condition.
Jesus.
What's the
I
What's
hope
the
you know
spread?
that unless you consume the bones, she's going to take them later and reattach them to the servants.
I'm explicitly just like sucking the bones out of them, like you suck meat out of like
my
like a lobster shell.
So you're not even eating the flesh. You're just
No,
sucking the
no, I am
bones?
after the bone.
Fresh marrow.
Well, they're gonna have boneless
God.
fingers for a while.
What's the
Jelly fingers, let's go!
what's the how many pinkies are there?
2.
Oh wow, a lot
If
of
I was
indexing.
playing a
Oh.
less serious character, I would just
Oh my
offer the
God.
jelly fingers to the vampire.
She's not
Oh
gonna
my God.
offer the smallest fingers to her guests.
You
What do
know
you think?
what?
She is a bad host?
She cooked for us. I apologize for doubting
She
my lady the
clearly,
Lord.
clearly wanted any excuse to put on a feast.
She really did.
It's like it's too many damn dead. It's
You
just
said,
cook.
These stupid idiots don't know how to cook.
you said there was like a roast chicken or something.
She's got the chef subclass and can never use it.
The main dish is a chicken, egg, and almond pie.
Oh my
Oh,
God.
there's no commas there.
Well, there is between chicken, egg, and almond.
Wow.
But they're all
Chicken,
there.
egg,
It is a
almond.
sweet and savory pie.
Can I have request some boned meat?
The lamb.
Oh, perfect.
The lamb stew does have some pieces that are bone still. You just want to like fish them out of there. If you want
Sure.
just some lamb, that can absolutely be provided too.
Yeah,
Or,
just a couple legs.
I don't know. She'll probably be like, "Did you want some toes while I'm at it?"
No, just the leg.
The lamb leg, or do you want a person's leg?
However
Yep,
she
yeah.
interpreted that sentence.
She's coming
gonna get
back
it.
with a person's leg.
Yep,
That's
you're getting
perfectly
the
fine.
flavor.
This time, you guys hear a groan come from the kitchen, and like blood starts leaking past the doorway on the floor.
Oh my god. And I thought I was being an asshole.
Requiem, dear, anything you would like on top of this spread?
Oh no, this is already fantastic.
Wonderful.
It is a lovely meal. Thank you so much.
Dig in, and just so we're all on the same page, I don't believe I've met any of you in person. Well, Requiem, dear, I've met you earlier today, so I guess that counts, but the rest of you, would you mind introducing yourselves?
Dragon Duel.
Philip.
Azrael.
It is a pleasure to meet you all. I am Requiem of House Imperium Noctis.
Good friends of the family, hers is.
Oh, you're too kind.
It's a, quite frankly, delicious dinner. She was not lying when she said it was some of the best food you'll get in Geb. Most of you could probably tell with ease that cooking seems to be a passion of Berline's, and she is quite good at her craft. If she is as good, if not better, at necromancy than she is at cooking, it's no surprise she's reached the position of Bloodlord. It's that good.
I didn't know fingers could taste this good.
It's my special seasoning.
The pie is divine.
I'm glad. Chicken's
leg is
hard to come by sometimes, so.
His leg is to die for.
Well, unfortunately for the owner of that leg, they're still alive and kicking.
Does the off chance does that skin tone on that leg match any of the fingers?
I'm gonna roll for this.
I want to know if she went in there for some fingers and they came back and said, "Never mind, I need the leg."
All right, I'll take your fingers. I'm coming back from the cleaver.
It matches one of the fingers.
Oh god.
She took off one finger from a guy and said, "Never mind."
Goes in
I
there
need
and takes
more."
one of his thumbs. It's like,
Mm.
you are now half a human.
Oh, there were no thumbs there. The thumbs need to be kept. Work must be done, you understand.
Mhm.
Oh my god.
I hope you know, those of you enjoying the bone, special ingredient, when you get to the point that you have your own servants, let me know. I'll tell you the blend. Feed it to them daily. Tastes like this after just a week.
Incredible.
She just winks.
God.
After a couple of mouthfuls, I'm going to start just sustaining prestidigitation for the next 10 minutes to no noticeable effect.
Okay. What effect are you doing with it?
Tidy.
Very smart. Unfortunately, those of you who are skeletons, Thrag, you have a fun little ability that when you're eating bones, it's just absorbed into you. Ends up repairing any potential wear and tear that you've acquired throughout the days. Any non-bones you consume, in one end, out the center.
Well, that's why these are just little skin-wrapped confections, honestly.
That's what the rib bag is for. Make sure you have one
Well,
next time.
I might be vanishing the contents of my rib bag.
Why would I need a rib bag when the bones are already so delicious?
Fair. Is there anything anyone would like to speak about during the meal?
I'm the one with the chef.
I would probably, after seeing the good nature of the Blood Lord, speak up about the nature of the dinner.
Oh,
More so,
So-
just to confirm that I am not in trouble.
It's like,
because-
are you asking about what you did wrong, or are you asking
Yeah,
about why
Philip.
you're here?
Philip, look, Philip walked here thinking he was about to get murdered.
It's like, are you dropping to knees apologizing? Like,
Yeah,
what we
Philip's
got?
been thrown for like 8 loops and does not know what's going on.
Philip, my dear, you should know mealtime is not business time. That comes afterwards. The meal is for relaxing and for enjoying. We can talk
Yes.
shop afterwards.
Yeah, yes, of course. My apologies.
I think his mealtime usually is his business time.
Philip always works lunch. Fucking Calvax.
Sometimes dinners, too.
Sometimes.
I was gonna say, sometimes I imagine this man is just ramen and work and one-handed. Oh, you were nailing this depressed act.
Philip has mastered the art of uncooked cup ramen.
With
It is
bone
not-
shard seasoning.
It's not a pleasant art.
The better question is, where's it coming from in this town?
Someone in the Court of Ghouls learned how to make ramen from someone in Jalmaray, probably, and brought it back with them.
I want to imagine it's not even like proper pasta. It's like gelatin ramen.
Yeah, pretty much.
So it's just
I mean,
The
It's
odd
just
ginger
raw-
ale in it.
it's just bone jelly ramen.
a place like Geb, you really think no one's made efficient cup food you can eat while working? Come on.
Surprisingly enough, though, because of the amount of grain produced around Graydirge, like the first person who made Geb ramen was probably like intestine and gelatin, but has actually evolved to be full on good noodles.
Oh my god.
They're not sold very often, so you kind of have to get them by like the pound and then break off a chunk to cook.
Well, most of the time, Philip doesn't get to the cooking part. It's the break off, put in the mouth, and eat while running to another farm.
Use saliva to moisten.
If not enough Nick cheek, apply blood.
The Calvex special.
Does anyone have anything else they'd like to speak about during the meal?
Requiem is going to after Philip speaks up and gets gently reminded no business at the dinner table. Requiem is going to lean over and whisper quietly, "I'm glad you're so gentle with him. The poor boy's scared to death."
Oh, he just looks like he could break at a moment's notice, doesn't he?
Oh no.
It's almost adorable.
Makes you just want to take his head in your hands and just squish, right?
How much of this can I hear?
Yeah.
Give me a perception check.
I am reminded of the Goku quote in this moment. They're going to break you like a Kit Kat bar.
I would ask you, Requiem, what is your deception DC?
Oh my god. Fucking proficiency's there. I always forget it's a hand. 17.
17. Philip, you can hear a majority of it. You hear Requiem's question, you don't catch Berline's response.
So I don't hear the crush it like a...
Yeah.
Okay.
You hear he looks scared to death.
You know she'd said something, though, and that Requiem giggled after, though.
Yes. And you might have seen, like, the small hand motion of squishing.
Philip is going to look back at both of the terrifying women at this table and just kind of put his head down and enjoy his bowl of lamb stew.
His last meal.
Yeah, his last meal. You know, he's happy that he's going out on a high note.
At least she gave you proper food.
She gave me proper food.
You didn't get to order your last meal, but it's still good food.
This is better than Philip thought he was getting.
Anything else?
I know you said no business at the table, but I must ask who the lovely character I spoke with was.
Oh. Yes, I did send her after you, didn't I? I don't let her out very frequently. I just kind of forget she is there sometimes. But Partha's a long-standing friend of mine. She does work for me when I require her to, and otherwise sits in the corner and does nothing.
I see.
But, if she played any tricks on you, well, things happen, and it was just minor use of magic, nothing too special.
Oh no, she was most tame.
I'll have to try harder with her next time then. Anyways, anyone wants refills? Philip, dear, your soup looks like it's really low. Let me give you some more, and she'll ladle some more into your bowl.
Thank you, yes. It's fantastic.
Eat up. You never know what meal's going to be your last, after all.
I look at her. I look at Requiem. I put my head back down.
Right, he's going to lean over. They're trying to fatten you up.
Requiem just happily exclaims, "Ah, yes, please," and holds her glass out for more wine.
Absolutely. You guys go through like 3 bottles of wine throughout the day. Probably you're on bottle 4. You can't get drunk, so...
I was gonna say, only bottle 4 and then a species that can't get drunk? That's this rich?
You gotta save it.
I imagine it's like 300 gold a bottle, though.
I mean, to a bloodlord!
It's nothing.
This is 4482 reserve that you've gone
God.
through 4 bottles
Whoa.
of.
Damn.
It's the
Wow.
good shit.
250 or so year old wine.
Fuck.
Well, we know who's the most important at the table. Jesus.
Yeah. Good
Oh, she's poured a
lord.
glass for everyone.
What?
It's just Requiem and her have drunk a lot more before you got here.
Yeah, and it also
Sure.
it would be very apparent to everybody that Requiem also seems like totally in her element. She has no problem sitting and chatting with a blood lord or drinking a really expensive wine or any of that.
Drake is going to slightly nudge the wine bottle towards the living member. You might need this.
We'll look at the wine bottle and
Or wine cup, whatever it's in.
Well, the bottle gets poured by everyone's favorite skeleton reacher, whose arms are just about double the length a normal person's arms should be.
I had 2 images immediately pop in my mind. One was just a skeleton with long noodly arms. The other was a skeletal jack. I don't know which is more.
This is long arm reacher. Will just kind of from the corner of the room reach out, grab the bottle, and maneuver it without moving his body to refill anyone's glass who needs it.
Oh my God.
I don't want to say quickly. Philip might not know exactly how nice of a bottle of wine was poured, but
It looks fancy.
realizes it's probably more than he'll ever make in his life. But will happily accept a second glass.
Absolutely. Interestingly enough, you would be able to read it because the label is written in Necryl. So if you wanted to, you'd be able to see just how old the bottle is.
As it is poured, I see that, and my eyes just kind of.
Question about your Go ahead.
My gray skin just kind of goes porcelain white as the blood leaves my face when I realize how expensive this bottle must be.
Look, Azrael, he's turning. But you said that the skeleton had like super long arms from across the room. Is that actually jokingly, or is he like in a corner of the room doing this?
He's not like in the corner. He's kind of against the wall. And when you're not paying attention, he'll like sidle around to get to a better position to help serve people. But he does have just stupidly long arms.
Burley, would it not be better to put him on the ceiling?
What?
He could reach everyone.
Could, but then he couldn't travel with me when I need him. And she kind of like gestures to herself. I do so struggle to reach things on high shelves sometimes. If I put him on the ceiling, I have to get him down afterwards. Waste of magical power, really. Plus, have you ever seen a skeleton on the ceiling? Not good artwork. Trust me.
I mean, it is half the city's architecture.
Well, yes, but they're not full, and quite frankly, I don't see the walls wearing clothes.
That would be strange.
Mm-hmm. So, maybe in the future, should he fail me, he'll be relegated to just his arms on the ceiling, but until then, having him follow me is just fine.
Going back to what's left of my fingers.
As the meal comes to a close, Reacher, 1 or 2 other servants, and about 4 disembodied hands all kind of come forward to start clearing the tables. The larger servants grabbing the full plates and everything, the bowls, and the hands all kind of lining up and like passing the cutlery amongst one another, dumping it into a basket before they finish up and carry it off. And another servant will come in with coffee and tea for anyone who would like them. As the finishes, and you all move on to what you imagine to be the business portion of your visit the evening. Oh, that was delicious. I trust you all enjoyed the meal as much as I did.
Oh yes, it
Yes.
was lovely.
The
Well.
fingers were delectable.
Glad to hear. Philip, don't worry if it wasn't to your liking. We can
No, it
always
was
turn you into a zombie. They're far less picky.
no, stammering over myself.
Very low maintenance, too.
The meal was fantastic. Thank you greatly.
Glad to hear that.
He
Now-
couldn't enjoy your food as much if he was a zombie.
Well, no, but less picky. Low maintenance. Quite easier to deal with most of the time. Most of the time. Now, just in case any of you are not aware of the, shall we say, higher powers you might find here in Geb. After all, I believe I am the first Bloodlord most of you have met. She kind of puts a hand over yours, Requiem, and looks at you. I am a necromancer by trade. You may look shocked now. I'm also a Bloodlord. That's a bit more important. All that really means is I'm a necromancer with lots of paperwork, responsibilities, competition too, but not important at the moment. As a lord closely affiliated with the Reanimators, I find myself in a position of responsibility for the raising and maintaining of the undead labor force on Geb's farms. A fact many of you which should be aware of, since you similarly work at those farms. And just in case you're wondering, Requiem, I'm talking about actual people food. I mean, food for living people, not food that is living people. That's not my specific business. My business is the zombie farmers. The zombies don't run the farms, they just work the farms under the direction of my charge hands. Well, also zombies most of the time, not always, sometimes. Again, doesn't matter. The charge hands keep the working zombies from stumbling this way and that. Most of them have retained their personalities and memories. On occasion, Drag and Azrael here help them out when is needed. Unfortunately, though, over the last few days, my New Year's gift was to learn that one of the farms has had some trouble. Old Urgags, as it's called, built on foundations of some old stone dwelling, possibly as old as Graydirge itself. Maybe, might be older, might be younger, not really sure. The farm has missed a few shipments over the last week. I've sent some workers to investigate. They couldn't get terribly close, though. Zombies roaming everywhere, and while I can't imagine any of my charge hands abandoning their duties, much less all of them, it's forced me to believe foul play. And since all of you seem so wonderfully skilled, good at your jobs, I want you to go to the farm and put it back in working order. Fair bit of damage as far as I've heard. Broken enclosures, doors wrenched from hinges, crops trampled, charge hands slain. Fix what you can, recover any food that's worth eating, make sure the zombies don't do any more damage. And, of course, find out what happened. That's most important. If you find Bradek, he could tell you, but if you can't, no worries at all.
I see.
Question.
Yes?
You said they were turned back by zombies. Are these controlled or mindless?
Mindless, uncontrolled at the moment. That's the problem. I didn't send any of the tenders there, so they didn't have the skill with which to corral the loose zombies.
Philip is going to slowly raise a hand.
Yes?
Sorry, looking to everyone else around the table. I was under the impression there was something wrong with the tools, that I was being summoned for punishment.
Well, did
But
you
the
not hear what I
zombies
said?
are tools.
Zombies are tools. But, well, I don't think Phillips shared with any of you. Phillips' trade is a bit more mechanical than magical, I believe the term would be. Like I said, broken hinges, destroyed enclosures, very likely problems with the tools, Philip. Your work will be quite cut out for you there. And who else would I send? You're the best.
Philip will blush and look into his tea. And just under his breath, in a very low murmur. Fucking Calvax.
As far as Requiem goes, throughout the explanation, she was nodding and gasping and all the proper responses at the proper times.
Of course.
And she pats the Bloodlord's arm and says, of course, we will take care of this. You do not need to worry."
Wonderful. I'm glad to hear that, Requiem. After all, these are some of our most experienced workers, but they needed a guiding hand to lead them, so how could I not include my old friends?
Just a question. Is if subduing them is necessary, is that okay with you? Do we have permission? Break a couple of legs, tie the torsos down, that kind of thing.
Oh, contained, destroyed, whatever stops the problem. We can always source more to rebuild.
Thank you. As a note, one of the things the reanimators have a really big problem with is destroying their undead without permission. So
Yeah.
Requiem made a point to gain that permission.
That was a good call. Yeah. She basically explains she does not care if they have to be destroyed or contained as long as she can get back to the farm working. That's what's the most important to her. And undead can, of course, be replaced. There's so many of them.
Mm-hmm. So no problems with breaking the ones on our way.
No. The ones in the fields would be best corralled. I understand you have a decent amount of experience with controlling them. If, of course, not destroying them would be the preferable solution, but if they're getting in your way, well, feel free to water the ground with what little of their blood remains. Any other questions?
What was the name of the one in charge?
My cousin, Bradek. Recognize him? Red hair, bare feet. Distant cousin of mine. So look around, find him. The only quick member of the workforce there.
And what would you like us to do if he is no longer quick?
I mean, if you mean he's dead, then do what you wish with the body. Bring him back and I'll put him up. If you need some workers yourselves, I'm not going to stop you from raising him.
Not attached. Good
Dead's
to know.
job is to serve here in Geb, and it matters little to me who he serves.
Not attached to. Good to know.
He is family, so I would appreciate news if you do manage to find him or not, but
Of
Again,
course.
if he's dead, what's there to be attached with?
Well, whether you want to him mindless or not, honestly.
Please, that matters so little. If he has his mind, great. If not, oh well.
It was only
It's no
polite to
fur
ask.
off my
It
feet.
was your cousin, so.
That's why I said distant.
Ah, that's all I needed.
And now that I'm thinking about it, it wouldn't do to do so without any sort of reward. You can't be expected to just work with no pay, can you? After all, I
Philip
think
coughs.
this
Not really
constitutes-
like coughing, but just kind of chokes on his tea at that.
I think this does constitute as additional work being taken on. Some might even consider overtime based off of the hours. Let's see.
This really is a day of firsts for Philip.
This really is.
Philip's best day ever.
Philip is sitting here like, holy shit. This is awesome.
Yes. Property. That should be a fitting reward. Got a abandoned manor just outside of town that deed has come into my possession of recently. Can think of no better use for it than as a reward for my new friends.
Outside this town, or the town we're going to?
Well,
I think it's in town, Jacob.
Old Urgag's farm where you're going to is about 16 miles away. It's one of the surrounding
Never mind.
farms.
Okay.
That's a decent area. There are farms that are further than that, but everything is around Graydirge. The manor itself is only about a mile south of town, just outside. Enough to give you some privacy and not bordering the property of any of the farms.
Requiem speaks up. Oh, no, no, no. I could not embarrass Grandmama. You're such a dear friend to the family. I can't accept payment. You simply need help, and I'm here to offer it.
Then think of it not as payment, but a gift as thanks. A bit of a reward for my friends. How about that?
I could see it as a summer home to let me visit you more.
There you go. Well, depending on how things turn out, this job might just be the first of many I have for you and yours. After all, if you're here, what better than to make use of your friends?
She smiled.
Does anyone have anything else they'd like to talk to her about? Ask questions before heading out?
Philip just sits there in stunned silence.
Sure.
Will we be able to requisition any gear we need for this trip?
Do you not come prepared whenever you go to a farm for problems?
Oh, this is a slightly more difficult problem than I'm usually carrying around tools for.
I'm sure you'll manage. After all, it's zombies. They're predictable, unless they're under someone's control, and since the problem is they're not under control, we circle back around to predictable.
Right.
There is nothing else. You all are free to get up and leave for the evening. I imagine you'll probably want to head out in the morning.
Mm-hmm. So how are they normally enclosed? They live in fences.
There are typically buildings that the
Building.
zombies stay in. You'd be quite used to that. There won't be like individual pens for them per se. They'll just take a bunch of zombies and like stick them in a building.
It's
So
like someone
like a
can like
barn.
broke the doors down or something.
Yeah, a lot of zombies that are mindless like this will just kind of docilely stand around a lot of times. It's when they get agitated for some reason that there'll be a problem.
Mm.
So any ones that are just like standing in the fields, you all can probably just kind of leave alone.
Okay.
Or at the very least, you won't have to worry about destroying per se.
But she said to try and like corral them if we could.
If you could, yeah.
I should be able to rebuild a fence. That
I was
shouldn't
gonna
be
say,
hard.
is anyone here trained in crafting?
Oh hell yeah! That's my thing.
But I don't have to hire a woodcutter to come with us. Excellent.
As you all. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Should we grab some lumber to bring to like nail some doors shut? Or do you think the scraps lying around?
Should be a few scraps lying around. I highly doubt anyone who's just destroyed a farm is gonna cart off material, unless that was their goal. Would do good to bring a few extra pieces to rebuild the fence. I assume I know where I could get these supplies for cheap.
Yeah.
As I assume Calvax made me buy my own supplies.
Yes.
Okay.
What typically happens, you have to buy them, and then you invoice for costs. Maybe you get paid back for it, maybe not. Depends on his mood. Typical Calvax.
Typical fucking Calvax.
This isn't a job for Calvax.
That's why Philip's excited.
I mean, hey, if you want to try invoicing Berlin Heldoli after this.
I was trying to, and she said, deal with it yourself.
Yup.
No.
You're getting a mansion out of this. Deal with it.
I'm not going to invoice.
That's after assuming we win.
Lord.
Yeah, assuming you survive. As you guys are heading out, though, she will kind of call out over your guys' shoulders. By the way, one final warning. Do watch out for Mosguta. Should be obvious at a glance who I'm talking about.
What was that name she said?
Mosguta. I can type it up in chat for people if they would like.
Do any of us recognize this name?
Unfortunately, no. And you know what? The three of you that have worked the zombie farms around here, there is a chance you have worked at Old Urgogs before. So feel free to give me a go ahead and give me a recall knowledge roll.
What skill?
Specifically, the recall knowledge, please.
Oh, we'll just do all of them.
Yeah,
Oh, that's just a button
it is.
that says I'm doing things. It doesn't actually do
The
things.
secret thing.
It does things for...
My goodness, I love when people roll blind recall knowledge rolls. Because you guys have some conflicting information.
This is why I'm on anti-anxiety meds.
Wait, did that actually roll?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it won't show up in
Oh.
chat for you guys.
Secret.
So it
It
does
is.
actually roll. I thought it was just a message.
It is entirely blind for you guys. It will not even give you a notice that it was rolled in chat. But for me, it basically shows what you rolled, every single one of your skills, and what the total for each of those skills is.
Interesting.
So, and it adds the lores in as well. So that way I don't have to ask for specific skills. I can just say, give me recall knowledge.
I like this macro, and I wish to shove it in the other Pathfinder game.
Yes. Let's see. Drag, we'll start with what you remember. You're fairly certain you've worked at Old Argogs before. And if you're remembering it as you do, Mosguta is a zombie cow. That's...
Not the cow.
Yeah. Philip and Azrael, if Old Urgogs is the farm the two of you are thinking of, Mosguta is a very unruly skeleton horse.
That would make more sense than cow.
Yeah.
Shadow Plane lore coming in clutch.
Uh-huh. But as you all think about what preparations you need to make, that's where we're going to go ahead and take a quick break. Welcome back, everyone. So, was there anything you guys would like to do as a last bit of preparation before resting for the eve and making your way to Old Urgog's farm in the
Well, where would you all like to meet in the morning?
At the gate.
We can meet at the southwest gate, I suppose.
don't believe anyone cast any spells today, but you are more than welcome to take a long rest if you would like. Get yourselves prepared nice and early to rest for the eve and wake up early in the morning. I imagine a few of you have houses here potentially. Some of you might also just have extended stays at inns. Sort of up to you what you...
Would Requiem get an extended invitation to stay at the estate for the night?
You know what? Would you give me a diplomacy roll on that? Let's see if you made a good enough impression that you would be invited to stay. Absolutely. 100%. Not only are you invited to stay, there is a room done up and waiting for you.
Nice.
For when you arrive. But it is mentioned to you that, unfortunately, this is for your first visit, as the mansion will be a gift to you all. It's sort of expected that you will remain there afterwards.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's just right now she's only in town for the one night before heading out. So.
Right. For your first night in visit, absolute guest room for you in the estate. The next morning arrives. You all make your way in your own time towards the south gate, finding your way together once more as you begin the trek along the dusty road towards Old Urgog's farm. What exploration actions would everyone like to be taking as you're traveling?
Oh,
Yep.
sure.
I'm getting a little scared. You guys do not have to take any if you don't want to.
This is the part of the system I'm least familiar with.
Ah.
Yeah, I had to look up.
Yeah, Requiem is probably just going to be looking around at like the countryside and stuff because it's all novel to her. So I guess whatever it is, like keep a lookout or perception or whatever that rule is called.
Which would be searching essentially.
Yeah, same here.
It's just
I
kinda
will
looking
scout.
around. Okay. I'll actually, to make it easier on people, I'll go ahead and post the link to the general exploration actions Discord for you all. Those of you who are searching, if you would like to give me a blind perception check, please. Okay. Anything in particular for you, Drag?
Not at the moment.
All right. It is, unfortunately, a quite dusty road. Those of you expecting a clean trip are not getting that. You are going to find yourselves definitely needing to wash your clothes after this if you like to keep them clean. But you begin heading southwest from Graydirge, finding plains quickly making way into low foothills. You know, you guys are close to the Shattered Range to the west, and it seems you're kind of hitting the sloping beginning of that region. The farm definitely on its way to precisely nowhere, but 16 miles makes it one of the closer farms to Graydirge, which is why most of you would recognize it is one of the farms responsible for supplying food to the quick in Graydirge, as opposed to the farms that produce food for export. The journey kind of takes the majority of the moment, or the morning, since you all are moving on foot. You do not pass anyone else as you travel, but every now and then, those of you kind of watching the countryside do notice the more distant stone and bone walls of various other farms and some of the larger estates as well in Graydirge's surroundings. Road kind of winds eventually between a few low foothills before you find yourselves coming across a sprawl of tilled fields in a pretty wide, flat valley. You can see kind of dominating the center of the valley is this large, rocky outcropping with a pretty high and extremely ancient-looking stone wall enclosing a compound on the valley floor at the northwest corner of the outcropping. You guys are beginning your final approach toward Old Urgog's farm. Just wish to keep approaching.
I'll do another seek action if I can.
Well, this is what you're
action.
constantly doing as you approach.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, so that roll kind of accounts for it all. But if you guys want to just sort of pass the fields and continue to approach, you absolutely may.
I'll just at least make sure my gun is loaded.
Sure. Absolutely. As you guys pass the fields and begin to make your way towards the farm proper, you can see the large gate that acts as the main entrance of the farm. The crops look pretty healthy as you pass by still. They appear to be mostly grains. And narrow paths kind of branch from the main road into the fields themselves, but the wrought iron gate you guys are approaching kind of stands in between 20-foot high walls of pretty weathered and ancient looking red stone. Those of you seeking can see a little bit as you begin your approach. A number of kind of low stone buildings through the gate that stand silent, and two human corpses lying just beyond the gate in pretty soiled, ragged clothes. One is sort of face down in the dirt, the other slumped on the gate with the arms sort of hanging through, its head jammed awkwardly in a small gap between the gates. Go ahead and...
No reaction to our approach.
Not at the distance you guys are at so far. Take a minute for everyone. It is a decently sized map.
Well, now might be a prudent time to ask, but does any of you have a way to interrogate the dead?
What was that?
Not a skill I've picked up yet, I'm afraid.
Are free to move and approach as you would like. I will stop you when necessary for things to happen. You may also ask me if you would like to make checks whenever.
Okay.
I will slowly approach the gate and the two dead bodies.
Okay. Go ahead and
Best.
stop you all there. Figure out around the time when Philip gets up to the gates themselves. As you approach the gate, Philip, you do catch a bit of movement. As seemingly sensing your approach, the two corpses slowly begin to stand up. The gate sort of swinging open slightly as the one that was jammed between them moved towards you.
Do I have any time to back up a little bit as I see this?
I'll let you back up 5 feet if you'd like. They're not the fastest zombies.
Gladly, I'll back up 5 feet.
But at that point, I think is when I'm going to ask for our first initiative of the campaign to be rolled. It's 2 zombies. Approach. Initiative can either be rolled from the encounter tracker or from the left side of your character sheet. Right under.
Did mine roll?
Perception. It did.
Oh,
I have a
didn't pop up
module
on my-
installed that will not have it populate chat, so as to keep the chat box relatively clear.
Gotcha.
Makes sense.
All right. But as these zombies stand up, Philip, you are the first one to act.
Right.
I will leave it up to you guys if you approached with weapons prepared or not.
I think Philip definitely approached with weapons prepared, knowing what was told by the Bloodlord.
Sure. You're the only one that matters if you have a weapon out.
Probably.
Really doesn't need do them for free.
I got my beating stick. That's about it.
Oh yeah, I do get to
That is
pull out a
true.
weapon for free.
You do get your energy shot if you would like to summon your 3 bullets as well.
Yeah, absolutely, I'll do that.
In the free action for energy shot, it has an effect that you can drag onto your token. I'd also recommend just dragging that effect to your hotbar, so you can quickly activate it on yourself.
And I'll just pick up fire as my damage type.
Sounds good.
For this, I'll take my first action. I'll take a move to right about here,
Okay.
and I'm gonna fucking let loose.
I'm gonna shoot gun.
I'm gonna Glock.
Gun mage casts magic bullet.
Yeah, I'm gonna cast a spell. Bullet.
Incredible.
That is a critical failure. So, for those of you who have not played in my games before, just to go over my general rules for hero points, since this is a good time. You start every session with 2 of them, and every time your accepted roll is a natural 1, you gain 1 back. So, Philip, in this case, you could either take that natural 1 and gain a hero point, or you could, of course, always re-roll it with one of your hero points.
I'm re-rolling.
Go for
I
it.
cannot believe that happened.
A much better roll that will hit.
I'm so glad that was the first attack roll and not the first roll of the entire game.
Oh my god, me too.
That would have been a bad precedent.
Yeah.
All right, 5 points of damage dealt as the bullet slams into the standing up zombie. And a little bit of the cloth bursts in flame.
I don't think I actually described what my gun looks like.
I don't think you have. Go for it.
It is I don't know what the actual term for it is. It's one of those push load rifles
I'll
where
be back in a minute. There's a commotion.
the handle where the trigger is, there is a handle beneath it that you push forward and pull back to recock the rifle. I will send a picture of it.
I know what you're talking about. I just don't know firearms, so
Yeah, I don't know specifically what that's called.
I'm gonna call the gun. That's all I got.
it shoots bullet, and that's what matters.
Yes.
And it is a rifle, correct?
It is an arquebus. Is that a single shot or is that a multi-shot?
It is single shot. Most firearms in Pathfinder are only single shots. So you do have to reload after every attack.
Gotcha. And then I think for my reload, I will for my final action I will thoughtfully reload.
Okay.
I just want to do a recall knowledge to see what I can remember about weak points.
Sure. You're unfortunately at this point in time a little bit too flustered to figure it out. Like, for some reason your mind immediately clicks on zombies. They're weak to void energy. And then a more rational part of your brain has a moment to take over and go, wait a second, that's absolutely not right. But at this moment in time, you are unable to remember what a good weakness of them would be.
That's all for me. By 3.
That will take us to the zombie you just shot. Now, zombies are inherently slowed. They only get 2 actions on their turn, unfortunately, and are not the fastest creatures in existence. But it is able to move here with a single action and get into melee range with Azrael and Zuka.
Hello.
And
I've returned.
welcome back. I mean, it's gonna hit someone with its fist. The question is who? Pulling out ye old patent to die, the snake is getting punched first.
How could you do that?
Fuck?
For 8 points of damage right off the bat.
Wow, okay.
As the zombie kind of stumbles forward and smashes its fist down, crushing a number of the bones that make up Zuka. And Azrael, that'll take us to your turn as that happens.
Fucked up. Thought we said no needless violence towards animals.
Just the one zombie ranting so far, or the other one kind of shambling slower?
It's shambling slower. It has not gotten a chance to act yet, unfortunately. But they are both up and moving towards you.
This doesn't seem like a super bad situation. I think we can chill out on the spell slots right now. I just hid my spells tab. How have I done this? Come back. Oh, because I'm on Zuka. I'm dumb. Zuka's sheet.
Well, that would make sense why you don't have spells to cast then.
It really concerned me. Ranged spells in melee, am I penalty?
No.
Okay.
You just cannot get flanking with them.
I'm gonna cast a Divine Lance.
Okay, dealing some spirit damage to them. And I believe this will specifically deal unholy damage to them, correct?
You will deal unholy damage.
Alright, go ahead and roll damage, and we'll double it since that is a crit.
We love a natural 1 on the first combat roll.
And then a nat
followed by a crit.
8 points of damage to the zombie. Interestingly enough, although you are dealing unholy damage, the zombie does not appear immune to unholy.
Good. And then I will command a zombie.
Okay.
Ezra. Or Zuko will bite.
That
Just
would just
kill.
barely hit. For 6 more damage to him. Alright.
Job
That
done.
has 1 more attack if you'd like.
Does he?
His commanding gives your...
He gets 2 strength.
Yeah.
Go for that +0.
Unfortunately, will not hit this time. Alright. Drag, that'll take us to you.
To step out,
Okay.
and I think he had the right idea. If I could just remember how to target these things.
Hover over the token and hit T.
Yes, there it goes.
Or if you have the encounter tracker open, you can target from there too.
He had a pretty good idea.
Alright. I believe you did it as private there, so people couldn't see it aside from you and me.
My bad.
But I'll go ahead and reveal that to everyone because you crit as well.
My god.
But yours, I do not believe is unholy. Yours is just flat spirit damage.
Flat spirit.
So you have not been sanctified. But this time, as both yours and Azrael's divine lances slam into the zombie, you watch as what little light it had behind its eyes dies. And the partially burning corpse falls to the ground and begins to fall apart. Requiem, that'll take us to your turn.
I was expecting the zombie to go first for some reason. I guess I can't track the tracker. I will follow suit, and I will divine lance.
Okay. Unfortunately, your divine lance does not manage to find purchase on the last
It
zombie.
held on that 20, and I thought I crit, and then it just barely rolled over.
Nope. All right.
And I'm going to move back a little bit. And that
That-
will be me.
Will take us to the other zombie's turn. And yeah, I think this one's just going to kind of come around the gate towards you, Drag. And is going to focus on slamming into you with its fist. Oof. Hitting you for a grand total of 5 bludgeoning damage. Kind of growls out, and you can see at this point it's reaching forward to take hold of you after it punches. Very slowly, albeit, but attempting to do so. Philip, we're back to you.
Right. Well. I started blasting.
Go for it.
First strike. I can't remember what buttons I need to click.
Oh
Let's
no,
go.
that's a dead zombie.
Yeah, it is.
That is.
I'm gonna click the critical button.
Please do so.
That's a lot of numbers. That's a lot of numbers.
That's
Fuck yeah.
30 damage at level 1, and that zombie's head is disintegrated as the rest of the corpse starting from the neck catches on fire as you shoot it.
Gonna like one finger push it off me.
Yeah, it like slumps towards you and then just vanishes after that. Just kind of
Ugh.
being knocked to the ground.
So uncivilized.
but that will end the first fight with the little zombies. Definitely uncontrolled at this point.
I'm gonna necromantically glue some of these bones back onto my snake. Don't mind me.
If you want to
and-
spend some time healing it and the rest of the group is willing to wait, you're more than welcome to.
In case anyone was curious for visual reference, this is the kind of gun that Philip has.
Mm-hmm.
You have excellent choice.
As
thank
soon as combat is over, Requiem steps forward. Is everyone all right? I have some mending powers.
Yeah. I'm alright.
Azrael takes some time to sit down, pull some bones from these zombies, and start using them to repair his snake.
Put him back up.
That will take
I love
about
that
10
you
minutes
killed
if
this
people
thing for
wanted
the
to do
exact
anything.
amount of damage they took.
Isn't that great? Up to you guys if you want to do anything during that time. If you want to wait another 10 minutes past that for someone to treat wounds drag as well. Or if while Azrael is doing that, the other three wanted to continue moving in.
I'm snacking on a zombie finger,
While
wishing it was Berline's finger. Dish.
while they all heal up, I think I'm gonna. Well, I might sneak ahead, see what the rest of the situation is. Not go inside the compound itself. No, I have to go inside the compound if I want to see. Damn it. Sneak around, see what I can see.
Okay.
I'm telling this to the party, seeing if someone wants to join me or if I am the stealth of the group.
Okay.
Sounds like you're on your own.
All right, I will very fucking carefully slide another bullet back into my gun and creep forward.
All right. Go ahead and give me a blind stealth roll as well as a blind perception check.
Don't let me down.
Okay.
Can't believe
Okay.
I got 2 nat 20s.
Amazing, right?
Yeah.
You know what? I will give it a shot. While Jacob's doing his thing, I'll try and fix myself.
Okay. Now, if you treat wounds yourself, you will be immune to him attempting to treat wounds you for an hour.
That's fine. Am I actually trained in this?
You are not actually trained in medicine either.
No.
You probably also don't have a healer's toolkit.
Never mind.
Would you like me to heal you?
Yes.
Okay.
I have a healer. I'm trained in medicine if you want me to try.
Oh yeah, that saves us time if you want to do it at the same time.
Sorry.
Yeah.
I just don't have a healer's kit.
Oh my god.
I
It's
ran out
not
of
really
money.
important. I thought it was just a button. That's my bad.
Look, man, guns are expensive.
They
Guns
sure are, that's fair.
expensive.
That's, you make a good point. Gotta import them from
starting
then.
15 wealth.
You know what is also expensive? Scroll staffs.
Probably.
Well, it's up to you guys if you wanted Philip at the same time to try and heal Drag to save you guys time as a group.
He doesn't have a healer's kit, he cannot.
You can
It's
share
fine.
yours.
I'm fine.
Well, you get to heal 8. Bag. That's right, I will take another 10 minutes healing you.
It gives the scout there 20 minutes.
Yeah. during that 20-minute or so period, what are you doing as well? As Philip is stepping forward to take a look.
Just keeping an eye out.
Okay. Philip, stepping forward just a few paces in, as you remain low and take a look around, you actually get a really solid view of just about everything that you can at this point. Your eyes are pretty well trained to find problems. And, well, I mean, there's a lot of problems you can see right off the bat. First and foremost, one of the barns that you imagine zombies probably would stay in, it's a very similar type of building. The reinforced door is on the ground. It is no longer attached. Whether it has fallen or been torn from its hinges, you're not entirely sure at the moment. I mean, you see two buildings up here and to the south that both appear like they have been pretty heavily demolished. You can also see just over here, impaled against the wall, is a small figure in what appears to be a dark gray cloak from what you can see, with a massive horn impaled through them and sticking them to the wall. And, of course, in the busted pen to the south, you see what remains of a low wooden fence. The gates all thrown open for it, the dirt trampled with, even for you at this point in your life, a pretty unsettling amount of blood and gore. Various parts of no less than 3 corpses, potentially more, lie strewn about the place, most of them trampled underneath the hooves of the large creature currently wandering around in the area of the pen. A massive zombified cow, iron rings that ropes would have been attached to embedded in its flesh. One wicked-looking horn, the other one broken off at the stump, and a massive scythe embedded in its side.
It was the cow!
Angrily stomping around the open paddock.
Bit far for me. I will creep back through the fence.
Sure.
Hey, Jacob, you want a new pet?
Mm,
It's even got handles.
Snake's not good enough for you.
It has one handle. The other one's missing-ish.
I was referring to the iron rings in its
Oh.
back.
Yeah, it's got a lot of those.
But I didn't. Did I see before I crawl out? Actually, did I see what looks like cracks? Presumably, giant bull. Horrifyingly sharp horns, missing one.
Mm-hmm.
Do I see tracks leading over to the body near the pile of wood that I will definitely be using to repair things?
I mean...
I can infer, but I'd like to be certain.
Yeah.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure I was right in inferring that.
I mean, if something had to bust through those walls...
It would be the giant bull. Yeah.
Probably the giant cow, yeah.
I just noticed the thing sticking out his chest inside. It's a scythe going all the way through. That's not just an organ.
No, that's a full-on scythe that is still just stuck inside the body of this thing.
Presumably belonging to our friend over there. Alright, I'm satisfied. I've seen enough. I'm not willing to tempt fate anymore. I'll back out.
Okay.
And head back to the party. Yeah, so...
you find anything interesting?
Quite a lot. I was wrong earlier when I said it was the farm with the horse.
I told you it was the bull.
It was the bull. One of the main pens is completely destroyed. There are about 3 buildings that have a severe amount of damage to them. One of the barns, the reinforced door, has been ripped off its hinges. No
Wait, you
further
mean it's out?
What was that?
You mean it's out?
Yeah.
Where
I
words
do.
are draconic.
Most of you can even see and sometimes hear the cow trampling around its pen area.
Yeah. So, one of the 3 buildings damaged. Barn just lost a door. Didn't check inside. 2 further buildings look like storehouses, completely destroyed. Those are gonna have to be rebuilt from the ground up. Seems the caretakers have been killed by Muskuta as well. We've kind of got our work cut out for us.
And here I was hoping it'd be stuck in its pen.
Were we so lucky?
Oh. No, we were not.
Before we head in as a group, let's make sure we come up with some kind of plan for how to deal with that fucking thing.
How tall is
It's large, even for a cow. I don't have exact sizes for you, but it's big.
it? Did it reach us up on the roof here?
The roofs of the building are only about 10 feet up.
Jericho, I have an odd question.
Yeah.
You seen the Percy Jackson movie?
Yeah.
We talking the size of the gold bull?
Oh, you're talking about the second movie?
Yeah.
I have not watched the second movie. I gave up after the first one. It was bad enough.
You didn't miss much, it got worse.
Yeah, you'd probably be fine on the roofs. Destroyed building as evidence to the contrary notwithstanding.
Well, I'm open to suggestions.
I will say, Philip was probably clearly in eyesight of it when coming in, and it did not seem to notice Philip.
Interesting.
If there are no suggestions, brute force, it is.
Yes, but presumably we need this thing alive. I highly doubt the mistress would want such a useful beast completely destroyed.
Well, who is the fastest?
Not McFucking me.
Stares
Are you
the
sure?
living.
I have.
You are the quick.
Oh, fuck, am I the fastest? I've got a 25-foot move speed.
Yeah, you're not. I have a 35 move speed.
Thank God. Why are we looking at me? Look at the highborn.
Perhaps I could summon a creature to lure it away.
Could work.
It always reanimates some of the farmhands.
Yes. How's the door on this building's off on the ground?
Correct.
Think it would even fit through that doorway if it tried?
It is much bigger than the doorway.
Yeah. Can we see a door on the other building that's not destroyed?
The one way down here?
The west one.
Or this one?
Either, actually.
From where you guys were and where Philip came in, no doors could be seen on either. That doesn't mean there aren't doors. There likely are. You just wouldn't tell exactly where they are, or would be.
We can climb up on the roof of this building here and take a look around.
If you'd like to, you're more than welcome to try.
So we can't see over this perimeter fence, can we?
The fence
from
is
the gate.
about 20 feet tall. It's a wall.
Yeah.
The buildings are not quite as high inside. So if you want to climb up over the wall, go ahead and give me an athletics check. You can even do the climb roll button from your character sheet.
Could we, like, a couple of us stand there to help boost them up?
I'd allow you to aid, yeah, absolutely.
I'll have Zuko drag my rope up the wall.
Oh, there you go. Okay.
Good old climb speed.
Yeah. There isn't necessarily a way to tether the rope anywhere.
Yeah, she's strong.
I'm still going to need an athletics check from you. But if anyone else in the party is boosting you, I will allow them to roll first to aid.
I don't have training in athletics until level 2, so I'm gonna pass.
I think that's one of the few skills I'm not trained in, yeah.
Don't think I'm ever slotting that in.
You're on your own.
Good old +0. Let's go.
Would you like to hero point that?
Absolutely not.
Okay. You start trying to climb the rope, relying on Zuka to hold it on the other side. You get like 3 feet off the ground before you suddenly hit the ground. And I don't think anyone in the party has seen a snake go flying before, but God's damn, that's a beautiful sight.
What do I get for not prepping staircase?
Whee!
What I
And,
imagine is it just buried his teeth in the wall and he just ripped his poor teeth out.
Zuka
No.
takes 10 damage upon hitting the ground.
How could you do this to my
Fall
poor
damage
boy?
exists.
Zuka fucking dies.
Zuka is at 1 hit point after that.
Are
Can't
you
believe
fucking kidding me?
Zuka almost died due to a nat 1 in session 1.
My poor innocent snake.
We're starting
Yeah,
off strong, everyone.
I got a lodge a complaint. We said no unnecessary violence towards animals.
Yeah, but
Twice
it's our
in one
violence.
session.
Zuka,
Twice
like,
at
hits the ground and comically separates into a bunch of vertebrae and ribs.
Like a Lego, like a character in a Lego video
Yeah.
game.
Yeah, exactly. And then, like, slowly reassembles, mostly. A lot
Please
of
tell me
cracks.
It's the exact same sound as well.
Yup. I'll get that soundboarded for every time Zuka
Please, I
takes
need it.
damage.
Innocent the crit.
Congratulations on almost killing your companion that quickly.
Oh my god.
Yikes. Can't even attempt to heal it for an hour. Who had that?
Great.
God, water almost came out of my nose.
Well, it was a great plan. And your snake heals 12. What is the new plan?
Not that.
Does no one have athletics in the party?
No.
Nope.
No.
The snake does.
Not until level 2.
I don't think it can't speak, can it?
No, unfortunately. Zuka
That's
does
probably
not
for
have
the
any
best.
languages.
So sad.
probably be pretty upset with if it could.
This is probably for the best.
Well, if they could speak, he could just go scout for me.
Have it go scout and then pantomime for you.
He goes in there and gets crushed by a bolt.
Would you like to risk it?
For the biscuit?
There's no biscuits here.
Fuck.
Only
Philip, how intact was his pen?
Not in the slightest.
What are
It
we
seems
supposed to
to
do with
be.
him?
Honestly, I think our best bet is to take out one of its legs.
Always fix it later.
Yeah.
All
And
the
if we
doors look
take
like
out a
one
leg,
line.
I mean, that thing's not going anywhere. Take out 2 if we have to. Just be on
Me
the safe
suddenly
side.
wishing I was level 2.
Two is
God
probably
damn it.
best.
What's up?
I said two
Oh.
is probably best.
Yeah. Now we just have to figure out how the hell we're gonna do that. I can definitely take a few crack shots, but something tells me that the legs of the cow are gonna be slightly more sturdy than a zombie's head. Anyone have some good magic for this cause?
We've got
To make a
flint,
distraction
but
for it.
could raise some zombies to draw it over here.
Yes. Can make the our gunslinger frontier more accurate.
If I have a better line of shot, I can attempt to shoot a leg off, I guess. Am I talking out of my ass, Jericho, or is that something I can actually do?
Are undead immune to non-lethal damage?
Undead are immune to non-lethal damage.
Oh, so we have to kill
However,
it.
if you guys were like, I'm more than okay with you guys specifying, like, chopping the legs off and leaving just a torso with 1 or 2
Okay.
legs. I think that's 100% fair. It'll probably essentially get cover if you're specifically targeting its legs.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yeah, if we can help me. If I can hit that shot, hopefully it ends well.
Can we guess how many shots that would take to knock off a zombie leg?
Recall
if anyone,
knowledge.
everyone can try one recall knowledge roll if they'd like.
I believe in us, gang.
I believe in us. We're a high intelligence gang.
Azrael,
Skeleton's
you're
gonna
still
minus
targeting drag.
Oh. Cancel that.
Facts about the snake.
Okay.
Not the snake.
Requiem.
No.
Looking at this thing, you are pretty certain it's gonna be tough. This thing looks hard, like sturdy hard. It will very likely be pretty challenging to injure and resist a chunk of damage. But if you can get a really accurate strike on it, you think it'll be pretty heavily in your guys' favor. Essentially, in game terms, resistance to all damage, but a weakness to critical hits.
Okay.
Past that, if you want to knock the legs off, it's going to have standard cover on any attack against it in that case, and you'll probably have to do I'd say 13 damage to each leg.
That's not too bad.
That's, yeah.
We could try and reanimate the zombie to bring it over to the gate. Try and get it stuck in the gate.
Mm-hmm.
That's a good call. I'm down for that.
It's got a
Build
big
a wall
horn.
of flesh.
Just secure the gate. Try and get its horn stuck through the gate.
How big are the gate walls here?
They go to about 20 feet up. And they're
How
decently
wide do they
thick.
open?
60 degrees out.
Okay.
And I'd say that's about where they're open right now. One thing I will mention as well, you guys could consider, this might not be the only entrance to the farm.
I did see the other entrance. But that doesn't exactly put us in a better situation, and I don't know what's going on over there.
Is there like a hill over here? It's like a rock wall.
Down to the southwest?
Yeah.
That's the big rocky outcrop that dominates kind of the center of this valley. The farm is built around the northwestern corner of it.
Oh.
A big rock.
What if we just took everybody with crafting and got a bunch of materials and made a ballista?
That is too high level for you.
I'm good with mechanics.
Ballista are unfortunately level 5 and uncommon, so you require the formula for it, and also 4 more levels.
Damn. I can clean a gun, but I can't clean a ballista.
You can clean a gun, you cannot build a ballista.
Ah,
There's a
shucks.
large difference.
Oh, shucks.
Yeah, so we need to go around and see what we can see.
Yeah.
Yourselves over.
Are there any rabbits around here? Just by happenstance?
There's no wildlife around as far as you can tell.
Not even dead ones.
Nope.
Shame.
We're.
I need to
I
get
also
one in the
shut
city
the
sometime.
Can Snake with you?
I shut
Yes.
the gates.
Smart. Don't have it come charging after you.
No.
You guys can just move all the way to the end in one move if you want here. Nothing's going to happen along the wall on the way.
We.
The race. Okay, as you guys kind of
Oh,
make
Damn
your way
airport
around,
escalators.
and take a look through this, the gate's still a heavy iron gate. I'm gonna stop you there. And it seems to have slammed shut on someone trying to enter. You
Interesting.
can see the corpse that's pinned by the gate wears what looks to be a dark red cloak that is crusted with blood at this point.
Was it red originally?
Yes. About it.
Good thing it's slim shut. He's looked like he was trying to get in, not out.
That's what it looks like.
Interesting.
Weird.
Not what I expected.
This
No.
individual, the farm owner, perhaps.
Give me a perception check. Blind, please, I should specify.
Oop.
Hey, good news. Roll it differently, but better this time. Most perception checks should be blind. I just didn't want the
Is that
first one.
perception check secret button, or is that...
Blind GM roll is what you want to
Okay.
specify it as.
That's what I wanted to clarify.
Yeah.
I don't know what your module applies to or not, so I
Okay.
didn't know if I had to click the button for that one.
You can't see many features of the corpse right now. They are faced away from you, but you can see they aren't barefoot. And the description you were given was barefoot and red hair, is what you're looking for the owner of the farm. So it's not likely this person. What you do notice, though, Drag, as you're taking a look, is that it looks like the gate was actually trapped. You see a number, like just beyond the edge of the gate in the wall, a number of springs that are pretty tightly coiled. And you get the sense, looking at this, that it was very likely this gate built in a way that, unless like disabled in advance, it will slam shut on whoever's opening it.
Can we reset it?
You guys probably could. It is disarmed at the moment because the guy's, dead in it.
Mm-hmm.
But you could absolutely reset it.
Try to beat the boulder run through and have it slam on him.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Bad idea. Yeah.
Could
I'd
we
probably ask for
jury-
a crafting check to reset it when you guys want to. But for now, it can just be opened normally.
Can I look at the mechanisms are on the other side of the door, right?
Most likely, yeah. And as you guys open it, the body kind of slumps forward onto the ground. And you can see what appears to be a leather satchel that was trapped against their chest.
In it?
Sorry?
What's in it?
Opening it and looking in, 4 small packets of something. Though it looks like 3 of them burst, probably when the gate slammed open. You can see what appears to be this grayish paste from within them, as well as 1 undisturbed vial of like a magenta liquid. I'll go ahead and put these items in the party stash if you would like them.
I'm gonna stealth, and
Okay.
I want to go look at the mechanism.
Sure. Okay. Feel free to move beyond the gate.
All right.
It is just on the other side of the gate, so you won't be moving far to take a look at it.
If I die, tell my wife I love her. I'm not married. I specifically want to see if there's a way I can jury rig it so that when it triggers is no longer when the gate opens.
Ooh, that's going to be harder. Go ahead and give me a recall. Actually, I don't need to ask for recall knowledge here. Go ahead and give me, if you don't mind, a blind perception check and then a regular crafting roll. Okay. First and foremost, you find the switch hidden in the wall, a little lever that you get the sense is to activate and deactivate it. So super easy to reactivate it. Trying to jury rig it so it doesn't activate on it being opened now, like how would you want it to activate then?
Maybe we could. So, presumably there's some mechanism in it, which snaps shut when the gate is opened, causing it to slam shut and squish people. Presumably we could wedge something in there and then tie some rope via pulley and just ripcord it. Is kind of what I was thinking.
So, like, you guys could run out of it and then pull it so it'll slam shut when you want it to.
Yeah, so we can wait until the bull is in the trap, and then we slam this thing shut.
Yeah, I think you could set something up like that.
Okay.
It might be a little bit challenging because, like, looking at it, those are some of the strongest springs you've seen in a long time. There's a whole lot of strength behind this door slamming shut when it's tripped. So it'll be interesting if you can set something up that just won't automatically be crushed when it is tripped. As
Also
is.
would. Put a toothpick in it.
Uh-huh. That probably won't do much for you.
There's probably something we can use amongst all these materials.
There's a wagon over there.
There's a wagon over there. We can probably... Ooh! The axle from the wagon, actually. That could work.
Or we can get it over here.
Oh, yeah, that's gonna be...
Well, as long as you don't disassemble it before getting it to the gate.
It's also getting it to the gate and not letting the cow hear. Oh, my gun isn't silenced, is it?
Nope, you did not purchase any silencers. It is loud.
And the cow didn't come running.
Nope.
And you went in there and it saw you and it didn't react either.
Yeah.
It could have seen him. He was definitely within eyesight of it. Whether the cow has bad eyesight or he just did really well at stealthing somehow, you're not sure.
Somehow.
Palpatine returned.
The
Sorry.
cow just didn't look that way.
Must have been the breeze.
Troll stole your sweet roll.
Goddamn
Well,
trolls.
I'm just curious. I mean, typically, I would have expected the bull to come charging at us the moment I fired my gun. So it might not actually be able to hear that well.
I will say, Philip, since you were looking over at the wagons and you've got a better view over there, you can see the two what look like zombified hounds and the zombified horse currently feasting on corpses in the middle of them at the moment that also do not seem to have noticed you.
Oh, that makes things a little bit more difficult. Okay. I'll creep back out.
Okay.
And I'll fill everyone in on my plan. See if
So there were zombie horses.
There is a zombie horse.
It's just not the zombie bull.
No. But as you guys think about your next move and try and set up a plan to potentially trap the cow and then proceed to figure out what else is going on with Old Urgog's farm, that is where we're going to end our first session of the Dead Ascent. Thank you guys so much for showing up. Thank you for playing. I hope you have a great rest of your week.
fuck Calvex.